Alright, what is up guys? Brian here, and this is my Lucha Underground review for last night's episode of Lucha Underground. I'm going to be reviewing what took place on last night's episode, as well as giving my thoughts on it as well. So let's get right into it. We had a couple of clips throughout the show, throughout the episode last night. One involving, at the beginning, involving Katrina and Cage. Cage was working out, and Katrina would magically appeared, and basically she would bring up about the gauntlet, that glove that Cage had won during when he won the Ultimate Opportunity, and she was pretty much basically telling Cage that he doesn't know what power that really has, that it's, he's not going to be him anymore and stuff like that gauntlet is going to take control of him. And Cage pretty much told her, you know what, let me guess, you want me to turn it over to you? And she was like, yeah, because in the when they were recapping what's been taking place, we found out that Captain Vasquez is actually Katrina's mother, but she's being kept alive, and that's the whole reason. There's like she's pretty much it's that the reason that Katrina has all these powers is because she's got half of a medallion, and her mother has the other half, and stuff like that. So, but Captain Vasquez told Katrina that she wants that gauntlet, and then once she gets her hands on that gauntlet, that glove, then Katrina will have her life back and stuff like that. So pretty much this was Katrina wanted Cage to give her that gauntlet glove, but Cage said, no, I'm not giving it to you, and stuff like that. We then saw a clip of Dario Cueto's office where Dario Cueto and Joey Ryan were talking. Joey Ryan told Dario Cueto that Dario told him to keep an eye out for anything suspicious. He then brought up about that the masked luchador Veneno. Then Joey Ryan told Dario that he thinks it's Cortez Castro, which obviously, if you guys have not seen Lucha, or if you guys have watched Lucha Underground in the past, that's one of Captain Vasquez's officers, Cortez Castro, and basically he's working undercover in Lucha Underground and that whole story. And then Dario Cueto made a match for next week, pitting Sexy Star versus Veneno in a mask versus mask match. So that is a match set up for next week at the Cueto Cup Finals. We had, speaking of the Cueto Cup, we had two semifinal matches. The first one was Prince Puma versus Phoenix. This was an awesome match. If you guys have not seen it, I would recommend checking this match out, finding it somewhere, because this match was awesome. A lot of back and forth, a lot of action in this match, but in the end, Phoenix took his eye off his opponent when Marty the Moth Martinez came out, started messing with Melissa Santos, who has been having an eye for Phoenix, and of course Marty the Moth Martinez has an infatuation with Melissa Santos, and Phoenix, that is what cost Phoenix this matchup against Prince Puma. He went and took out Marty the Moth Martinez, but then got finished off by Prince Puma. So Puma advances to the finals next week. And then we had another clip of Katrina and Mil Muertes. Mil was basically he was working out so hard that he made the temple he would make the temple shake and rumble. Katrina then came in and basically told him about she wants him to go out and break Pentagon Dark in two, and then Cage would attack from behind with a one of those weights that you put on the when you work out, you put them on that those bars and stuff. He would attack Mil with that and then would leave. So big question going into the next match, which was Mil Muertes versus Pentagon Dark, is how that would affect Mil's game going into this match. And pretty much, this was another good matchup. Pentagon Dark using his speed and agility and Mil using his power and strength, made for a good match, and that's exactly what it was. Pentagon would pick up the win in this one with the double stomp to the already injured ribs of Mil Muertes, and thus advances to the finals of the tournament. So the finals are set for next week. It is going to be Pentagon Dark versus Prince Puma in the Cueto Cup finals, with, of course, the winner of that one getting an opportunity at the Lucha Underground title. I believe it's going to be next week as well, so that should be an incredible match. And then, of course, brings us to the final segment, which was the Rey Mysterio and Johnny Mundo face-to-face. And you want to talk about segments that were great end segments segments for Lucha Underground. This was actually a pretty good ending for Lucha Underground last night. Rey Mysterio would come out. Johnny Mundo would come out with security. He would start disrespecting Rey, talking about Rey's son, how Rey's son is real tall, and that he obviously gets that from his mother, and and then basically he started just poking Rey Mysterio, like throwing insults at Rey and stuff like that about Rey's son Dominic, and Rey lost it, went after Johnny Mundo, started hitting him. Security would hold him back, but Rey Mysterio would get loose. The Worldwide Underground would come out. They would leave. They would jump on Rey Mysterio. Here comes El Dragon Azteca. Here comes Sexy Star. Here comes the Mac. They would get into it with the Worldwide Underground. Pretty much this would lead to it seemed like every superstar, every luchador on Lucha Underground came out. You had Phoenix, you had Jeremiah Crane, you had Marty the Moth Martinez, Pentagon Dark, Prince Puma, Mil Muertes, Cage, all of these, everybody coming out, getting into a fight, and pretty much they were brawling all over the temple, fighting in the crowd, fighting in the ring, and the ending of it was Rey Mysterio hitting the 619 on Johnny Mundo and standing tall with the Lucha Underground title. So obviously this puts a lot of importance on what's going to happen next week at the Cueto Cup Finals, as well as what's going to happen on next week with the Johnny Mundo Rey Mysterio match. So my overall thoughts on last night's Lucha Underground episode, I actually thought was a very good episode. a lot of build up for next week. You know, what's going to happen in the Pentagon Dark Prince Puma Cueto Cup Finals. What's going to happen with Johnny Mundo and Rey Mysterio. A lot of big things happening next week. You know, and the way they hyped it, especially with last night's episode, it's like they're hyping it to be a can't miss episode. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens next week. But overall, my thoughts on last night's episode, I thought it was actually a very good episode last night. I really enjoyed the Prince Puma and Phoenix match. I really enjoyed the Mil Muertes and Pentagon Dark match. I thought the ending of last night's episode was awesome. Seeing all the luchadors battling it out, and you had a lot of different feuds going in that one. So I thought last night's episode was very good. That's my thoughts on that. So with that being said, if you guys did not watch last night's episode, I would recommend checking it out and judging for yourself. But I thought that it was a very good episode. So with that being said, this has been my review of what took place on last night's episode of Lucha Underground. As always, I am Brian, and thank you for watching.